For fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins, make sure you guys go check out my sponsor U4GM Coins. Use code VENM at checkout for 5% off your order. Yo, what's good guys, VenMFire here back from a video, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys one of my favorite and most unique pass defenses in Madden 21. Now this is a defense I haven't seen a lot of people run, but I still like to mix it in, and I think it is a very successful and underrated defense. Now, the defense we're going to be running is out of the nickel normal formation. We are in the Kansas City Chiefs defensive playbook today, and we're going to be running cover 4 palms. Now you can actually run this out of a variation of formations, those being big nickel, things of that nature. Any 4-man rush formation probably has it, but I like the nickel normal one a little bit better. I feel like the formation specifically definitely caters towards a cover 4 palm style defense with how sort of symmetrical it is. But yeah, let's go ahead and just hop straight into it. One thing with the cover 4 palms is that when you're running any sort of match defense this year, pretty much you just want to make sure that your flats, your curl flats, and your hooks are on default. Turning them to any yards will cancel the match coverage and therefore make your cover 4 palms relatively useful or useless, pretty much turning into a stock cover 4. Now, I like to have auto flip on for this style of defense, and for this defense, it's going to be better against compressed sets. So things of the nature like gun bunch, one of the probably the most popular passing set this year. And then you got things like tight offset, tight flex, tight slots, halfback weak, that it will also be good against. Now I'm going to try and go to a different number of gun bunch plays to show you the variations of the coverage. Alright guys, with that being said, let's hop into the adjustments. Now, taking a look at our player, the one thing about cover 4 palms that's really nice, specifically about this here, is that you really don't need too many adjustments to set it up. All I really like to do is go ahead, pinch my defense, which will be RB or R1 and down on that left stick. What that does is it's going to pinch your defensive line, pinch your linebackers, and then press your cornerbacks. Now, one thing, there's one main weakness about the cover 4 palms defense. It's going to be this solo side receiver can get burnt. So in formations that aren't tight, I know bunch is a tight formation, but there is this solo side receiver out wide. He can actually get burnt on a little streak route. Now the one out of verticals, this one in particular will burn him. You see how it's not a direct streak, it's more of a fade. Things like that will actually do really well against this palms defense. So it's one of those things that you have to be careful about. And the real simple fix to it is just to click on and move him back. And again, you're making no adjustments. It's a very easy and simple fix, and you're not going to get burnt, obviously, on a streak when he's pushed back. And again, him not being pressed is not going to be the end of the world. He still will defend certain things like a drag very effectively. But yeah, let's talk about the user now a little bit. Now with the user against bunch, against tight offset, I would user this player always opposite of the bunch. If they were to be in a tight offset, I would always user the short side of the field. So if I was in tight offset and I was on the right hash, I would user this player on the right side. If I was on the left hash, I would user him. So pretty simple. And again, even if they were to run their bunch on the short side, you want to user this player opposite of the bunch. Now the real reason you do that is because you don't want to have to worry about, streaks or things getting in between the defense, and really the only way that this defense could get beat is a deep post from left to right, and that's where you can easily use her. And also a good thing about the defense is that you don't have to really use her underneath. So I'm just going to go ahead, snap the ball here, just running a relatively stock play, and you see pretty much everything is covered. Now the one thing that was sort of open was that in route, as well as the little hook curl or the deep post with Adams. Now again, depending on who you have or which players you have, certain routes will be more open. Now, the reason Devontae Adams got so open is because he has route technician, and Levi Wallace on that left-hand side is not really ever going to hold Devontae Adams in one-on-one coverage. Now, if you know he's not going to put beyond a streak, you can leave him pressed, and he'll defend that little in-route a little bit better. But if not, that in-route is pretty good against certain like man-match concepts. You see, though, he did follow it a lot better when he was pressed. And again, that's where your only worry really is if they go ahead and put B on a streak. And if they do, you still do have a chance to user it. But again, it's really good coverage. You saw the corner out. I'll just set it up one more time with this play and try and throw just the little corner out. I'll throw it, and you see Levi Wallace right there on that little corner out biting down. Now, one thing about match and cover 4 palms in general is it's going to play different every single time. Now, you saw Levi Wallace, the previous play, sometimes he was biting on the on Devontae Adams. That time he followed the corner route. So that's one of those things where you really do have to pay attention, be on task with your user. If you sort of lurk down, you could get beat over the top. So again, be careful about that. And one thing I want to mention about palms in general is that it's not an every down defense. This is not a play or any, play out of any formation that I'm going to run every down. This is more so a thing that you want to mix in like once, twice, 3 times a drive, maybe, obviously depending on the length of your opponent's drive. But again, I like to mix this in. And if you're already running nickel normal or big nickel, it's very easy to sneak in a little cover 4 palms. Looks very similar to cover 2. So it's going to be relatively difficult for your opponent to know that you're running palms. And if you mix it in for one play, it's definitely going to confuse them. You run palms one play and then you switch to a cover 2 or whatever the case may be. But let's hop into some of the other plays. Let's just go to a quick verticals here. Now verticals, again, the only real worry about verticals is moving this player back. Again, be careful about that. Just move him back a couple yards and you'll be good. Now a couple of other things you can do out of palms is if I wanted to, I could just leave him pressed, and then the way that he wouldn't get burnt is if I were to just shade over the top. Now when I do that, it cancels the outside players with matching, and I'm pretty sure it cancels everybody with the matching assignments. So if I wanted to play this style of defense, which you definitely can, what I would do is I would set my curl flat zone drops to around 15 yards. Now I don't really like to play it like that, but again, I'm just giving you guys a couple of options. Obviously with the 4-man rush, you could always contain if you want, or you could definitely spy someone. When you're rushing 4, you can definitely afford to go to that 3-man rush and QB spy, which is going to be nice. Sometimes those weird running back routes actually don't get picked up by the match coverage, so the spy underneath can help with the coverage of that. But yeah, let's just run a little bit of a verticals play here. You see, look at the coverage, absolutely killer down the field. Maybe the crosser gets a little bit open there. And again, you got to be on top with your user because you never know who's going to match on to certain routes. Again, this formation plays is very different. It's not the most easiest formation to user in, but I do still think it is one of the best plays to mix in. That's one of the reasons that you don't want to run it every play, because if your opponent has a cover 4 beater, he's going to try and beat you up top. So really, you got to be careful with those main things. But again, if you're running it once every 5 plays, it's not going to be too big of a worry. Just click on, move him back, and then they'll snap the ball. And again, it's really good against those players that snap the ball in an instant. Let's just try and run some random plays. I'll go with this little play, bench pivot, I believe. And again, I'm just trying to give you random plays, different looks that you might see. You see the coverage right there, very good. Maybe you throw A. If I throw A, that's probably a click on interception. The dig route, very good coverage on that as well. And again, as long as you get fast DBs, that's a key thing I would say with this defense. Getting fast safeties, getting fast linebackers. Again, in nickel normal, you can sub safeties at linebackers, so I don't have to use those slow guys. I can sub in some quick players and defend that very effectively. And again, players like Micah Hyde, you want some speed so that when they do match up on maybe a deep post or whatever, they're able to defend it very effectively. The other good thing about it being in nickel normal, this play in particular, is that's very good against the run. Nickel normal is a very good defense, and cover 4 palms, any cover 4 in general, is typically better against the run. You see the reason why is because those inside quarters from the safety go ahead and are in the run fits, which is definitely helpful, especially if they were to run to the left or whatever. But again, just running a base like draw, it's very easy to shoot the gap with out of nickel normal specifically. Now, I did upload a video on Big Nickel talking about the run defense, and that would sort of tie hand in hand to the Big Nickel over G cover 4 palms. But yeah, those two formations are probably the best in hybrid pass and run defense, I would say. With that being said, I'll try and hop into, let's just run a little bench. Again, this is very good against corner routes and crossing routes, things of that nature. Cover 4 palms is exceptional against. And again, let's pretend that I was on the right hash. I'm going to use this player right here, and I'll just snap the ball. And again, against like something like tight offset, you're not really going to have to go ahead and move any of the players back because they're not really going to get burnt. But one of the unfortunate things is you saw I had to end up using that tight end on the corner route. So even if I wanted to, something that I could do is just maybe use one of the players in the middle of the field, especially in a sideline to sideline offense like tight offset. Might be the move to go ahead and just use one of these players in the middle. All I would have to do is sit on this route with RB, and you see Again, the pressure very good out of nickel normal. The Bills don't even really have any good pass rushers, I would say. They have good pass rushers, but not any superstars on the D-line. You see we're getting very quick pressure on what's a pretty good offensive line for the Packers. So again, just combining those sort of things, I think, will give you the best success with this defense. And again, nickel normal, you can always mix in 2-man under, Tampa 2, cover 3, mix in things like that. But again, the biggest keys are to mix this in every 5 plays. Never run this, every single down, or you will get picked apart by at least a good player. But yeah, make sure you keep it to tight formations. If they go to a spread, that's probably bad news. That's the best way to beat cover 4 palms. In case you didn't know, go to like a 5 wide or a gun spread wide flex, whatever. But yeah, it's pretty much gonna do for the video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and peace. I'm out of here.